Alright, hello guys, how's it going? In today's video, we're going to be taking a look at a very large storm that is going to take place over the western, the central, and then eventually the eastern United States. Anyways, before I get into this video, be sure to smash that like button, leave a comment down below, and subscribe for more weather-related content. For today's comment of the day, I want to know, do you think we have any more major storms on the way for the month of December, or do you think it's going to be a relatively quiet month outside of this upcoming big storm? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, and I'll be picking one of those for tomorrow's video. Alright, now first things first, we're taking a look here at our national radar. You can see we have some storminess out west. We also have some storminess that was ongoing for the northeast. And overall, it's just windy for the east coast. I actually woke up this morning to some gusts happening outside that were very, very loud. We also have some snowfall going on for the Dakotas up there in the north central United States. Let's just zoom into the west real quick. I want to draw your attention down here. We have some interesting precipitation ongoing here for the southwest. As you can see, a lot of this precipitation is pushing southward down the California coastline there, and that eventually will make its way into southern California. Obviously, we already see some of this building in here for this region just to the north of Los Angeles, and that is going to continue to build in and again head further southward down the coast is eventually what we're going to see. There's also some spotty precipitation over here for the Four Corner states. We are seeing some snowfall there for the mountainous regions of Colorado, but that seems to be drying up quite a bit. And this will eventually come to an innocent end for the most part. Now, I do want to draw your attention over here to this snowfall once it loads in here that we do have ongoing for regions of the upper Midwest and the north central United States in general. And this is a small clipper type system in the area of snow showers. You can see there has been some heavier pockets, especially here in this more northern corridor. We've seen that area get pretty heavy at times, indicated by the white and then even the blue colors in there. That's indicating very heavy snowfall, but it is quite brief, and I'm expecting that probably it was pretty minimal accumulation amounts, if anything. Now, we do have some pretty interesting lake effect type snowfall taking place for a lot of these lakes up here. As we take a look, you can see areas in Michigan, especially here. There's some very small bands of lake effect snowfall happening. Also in the Upper Peninsula here, we can see some areas of lake effect snowfall. And then especially here in New York, we have some of these bigger bands, and even in through Ohio and Pennsylvania. And that is probably accumulating for areas that are more consistently seeing that lake effect snowfall. I was expecting that this would be a big lake effect year, and it's pretty validating to see at least some lake effect snowfall happening. Now, you can also see as we draw our attention up here to eastern Canada and also portions of New England, we had a storm system moving through there, but it has moved up to where now it's mostly exclusive there for Canada, and for the most part, it has moved out of pretty much most places. Now, as we move on to the modeled guidance here, we're taking a look at our European model on this frame. You can see that this model does have that snowfall lingering for a lot of the New England states. That does move out by the time we're reaching, actually, when I'm making this video. We can see that this model has indicated there would be snowfall in the same regions we're seeing it. We also see snowfall down here as well, and we see this precipitation moving further down the California coast, just like I indicated on the radar. Now, as we move this forward, this is going to be heading in towards tomorrow. What's interesting, we see two things set up here. We see one, our East Coast storm here, which now looks to feature some light snowfall in here. We'll take a look at the snowfall totals in a moment. But this storm has really trended away from a more major solution, and it's moved into more of this very light snowfall, maybe accumulating 1 to 4 inches of snowfall. And that's generally what we've been taking a look at. Now, I do recommend you follow our Direct Weather Mid-Atlantic page on Facebook, because they have been posting frequently about this storm. So if you want more frequent updates about that, but also our Northeastern page as well has been covering this storm. So if you live in any of the Mid-Atlantic states, I recommend the Mid-Atlantic one. Or if you live in New England or New York State, you can follow the Northeastern page, and both of those pages individually have been covering that storm. Outside of that, we do have some pretty heavy rainfall happening down here for the southeast. and it's going to be pretty stormy for this region actually over the next few days as well. But we can also see there is some storminess in general moving onshore to the Pacific Northwest, including heavy snowfall. Let's move this a little bit more forward here. And we can see by time we reach, let's stop it here at about 5 a.m. on Thursday, and that's going to be December 9th. We can see that snowfall gets a little bit heavier as it moves up into the northeast, but it's almost too little too late for those regions. We see that snowstorm and storm in general that moved into the Pacific Northwest kind of did this. It kind of headed where a lot of that energy is headed further south into this region. But in general, it's not a major storm yet. But what we see happen over the next few hours after that point is we see this snowfall down here for the Southwest really, really build in, especially for Nevada, Utah, Wyoming, Colorado there, where some very heavy snowfall is coming down and likely accumulating very, very quickly. Now, before I move on too much, I do want to draw your attention here to the total snowfall for the eastern United States. And if you're anywhere in the grays here, this is pertaining to our snowstorm, our very minor snowstorm we just talked about. If in general, if you're in this region, you're expecting maybe an inch or two, if anything, if not maybe a dusting, but really likely no accumulation, according to this model, and that is what our forecasters over at Direct Weather Mid-Atlantic have been indicating as well. But again, you can go check that out. I'll leave links to both the Northeastern page and the Mid-Atlantic page in our description and pinned comment, by the way, for you guys to be able to reach that very quickly. We can see that as this storm moves up into New England, we get a little bit of some heavier amounts because these blues are indicating areas that are seeing about 2 to 6 inches of snowfall here. You can see that on the bottom of your screen. And then we see these purples in here as well, and that is indicating areas of 6 to 10 inches of snowfall. Again, you can see that on the bottom of your screen. Let's move back to that simulated radar, though, because I do want to keep moving on with that major storm. That's kind of the headliner for this video. And again, heavy snowfall building in, especially for the southern Rockies. We see the storm really building in by this point. This is going to be about 6 a.m. on Friday, December 10th there. So we're moving a little bit into the kind of medium range, but hardly. I mean, this is a few days out. This is about 3 days out. So this storm, our confidence is rather high. And for this region, you can see we're experiencing fairly heavy snowfall, especially for northern and mountainous regions of New Mexico and Arizona, but also for Utah, Colorado, Wyoming, and even Nebraska and South Dakota by this point as well, which is super interesting. We already have a 993 millibar low pressure center by that point. Let's continue to move this on, and things get pretty interesting by Friday afternoon. This is going to be about 3 p.m. on Friday, December 10th still. We can see a lot of storminess happening here to the east of this low pressure system. Flooding is possible, but also severe weather when we see a storm this strong. We also see very warm air heading into this region on this frame, and that is going to be allowing for some CAPE to move in, which again is our thunderstorm food. It's been a while since I've talked about CAPE, so I wanted to remind you guys. But we also have some cold air pouring in like this with this storm, and that is that matchup that can create some severe weather here kind of to the east of that low pressure system. But not only that, we are experiencing still some heavy snowfall from eastern Colorado in through Nebraska, Kansas, Iowa, Minnesota, Wisconsin, as this storm is heading into the upper Midwest and the Great Lakes regions. Let's continue to move this on, and this is going to be about 2 a.m. on Saturday, December 11th. You can see we have a 989 millibar low pressure center. Again, a very heavy precipitation developing around and to the south and east of that low pressure system. We could see that cold front developing in here, and that is going to be pushing eastward with that colder air. And we will see a bit of a cool down for pretty much most regions, but we still see that corridor of moderate to heavy snowfall for this region, especially for Nebraska, Iowa, Minnesota, Wisconsin, and then especially the Upper Peninsula, Michigan, but maybe the tippy top of the Southern Peninsula as well in there. And it's important to note that so far this year, I've been wanting to talk about this. The models have started out very strong with these storms, and they've trended weaker and weaker and weaker. And that's not typical, but this year it has been the trend, and it is important to pay attention to. So we are going to be watching for that possibility of these storms to really look a little bit less amplified over time. I am going to be tracking this daily with you guys, so we will be able to talk about it daily. But for now, We are taking this with a grain of salt, even though it's in a little bit of the shorter range. The models have been being a little bit fishy. I want to give you that disclaimer there. I have been paying attention to that, and we really see trends year over year like that. Not that exact trend, but we do see different trends every single year. Eventually, this storm, by the time we reach about 2 p.m. on December 11th, we see it moving up into Canada, we in eastern Canada there, and we do see some snowfall lingering for Michigan, Wisconsin, Illinois, perhaps, but for the most part, it is mostly said and done. We see that cold front has developed right there. We see this cold air pouring in to the central United States, and in general, it is curling around and likely moving in right behind this cold front. As this cold front pushes eastward, we're likely seeing very warm temperatures right here in this region, possibly some thunderstorms as this strong cold front pushes towards the coast. It's going to be something worth watching. It depends if it happens overnight or in the middle of the day, perhaps, but we are going to be watching for that possibility. You could see this cold front pushing further east. And yeah, there is some pretty heavy precipitation along this, but it is 2 a.m., so I doubt there would be any severe weather or thunderstorms as this reaches the coast. But the more inland regions where that cold front arrives during the day, I could see how there could be some thunderstorms for sure. Definitely some heavy precipitation happening along that cold front, but we definitely see this Arctic air just really pouring in briefly behind this cold front. But I'm sure a warm-up is on the way given the pattern we've been in. Right behind that cold front. Anyways, for today's confidence tab, we're at a 4 out of 6. This is pretty short range, so I went higher with it, but then, I took into consideration the models have been very, very iffy with their intensity and location. So that's why we're kind of finding our middle ground there with a 4 out of 6, just like kind of always. For today's comment of the day, I asked you guys, do you think December will bring a cold pattern at any point, or do you think we're pretty persistently going to be in a cold in the west, warm in the east pattern? And James Marsh said, I think the end of December could switch to a cold in the east, warm in the west, but it's still way too far out the tail, and it's definitely true. The teleconnections don't seem favorable until basically at least the 3rd or 4th week of December, and then it's kind of just a question mark anyway. It's not guaranteed to be a good teleconnection pattern, so it is kind of up in the air, like James Marsh stated. For today's patron highlight of the day, I want to thank you all for supporting the channel, but especially our platinum patrons, Bill Crates, James Wade, Toby Nagel, Larry LePan, Mandy Birchfield, and Patrick Strickland as well. I would also thank our diamond patrons, Bill Roberts, Marcus Connolly, Noah Harley, Michael Kudalesa, Catbite, Charles Stinnett, Cindy Klein, Alan Goodmaben, Bill Dallas, Gary, John Khaleesi, Dwight Phelan, Stephen Crenenthal, and Thomas D. Barr as well. I would also like to thank our channel members, Catbite, Stephen Fan, and Jeremy Cox also. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Be sure to smash that like button, leave a comment down below, and subscribe for more weather-related content. I'll see you guys in the next video.